Where's Frazley right now when you need him? I've been trying to get a hold of Frazley to get this report out, but we have some great news. The Winds of Wisdom, the 100% experience buff, has been extended through to the Shadowlands Alpha pre-patch. No date when the pre-patch is going to be live yet, but we think it's a while away. And then in the same day, Blizzard has added a 100% bonus reputation buff from April 20th to May 18th. This is for Legion and BFA reps, and Pete pointed out the asterisk that says that this bonus excludes for Johnny and Ultima Core reputations. So get on out there and work on your leveling and your reps. I probably should work on some reps myself. I'm getting a little flabby.
Hi, and welcome to FrazlCast. Climb aboard the Gnome Train.
Woo! Chugga 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 woo!
Please make sure to keep your limbs and experimental instruments inside the train at all times. And now, on with the show.
A podcast by a Blizzard fan gnome about World of Warcraft and geeky stuff. I promise you, they do talk about the World of Warcraft. They just go off the rails sometimes.
Well, I am Frazley, and I am joined by the roguish paladin you have most definitely heard doing bumpers for loot optional, and you've heard him sing his heart out on our monthly Twitch sings, as well as spots on this show.
And I'm hungry like Moonfang. Toss a sub to your Twitcher and help him make money. Cheer bits by the 20. Oh. Toss a sub to your Twitcher with Prime, do it monthly.
It is Mr. Scruffy of Viral Voice Arts.
Hey, Frazley, how are you?
I'm doing good. I had to do that.
I have a lot more fun making those things than I feel like I should, so that's perfectly fine.
You do them so great. And I was like, I have to have another reason to bring them on. And I just realized I always do a sub call at the end of the show. That was the first time I've done a sub call at the beginning of the show. I'm glad you're here. But Epicinsanity, what time is it?
It's time to go around the table.
Great idea. So what have you been up to recently?
Probably the biggest news is the guild I'm in. We finally we hit AOTC with Azeroth the other day. That was pretty amazing. You could check out my wife, the Scruffy Druid, has posted a clip because she was streaming it at the time, and that was genuine joy and exhilaration. And I promise I felt it too in here. But what came out was a nice, guys, nice, because that's how I roll.
Yeah.
But it was very exciting.
So inside you were like screaming like, yeah!
Yeah.
Nice. How long have you been with this raid team?
Oh gosh, just not long, a couple of months maybe. As I do with a lot of things, I rode Scruffy's coattails into it. I kind of follow her around like a lost puppy dog, and it hasn't failed me yet. So
she's a great person to be around.
Amazing.
I thank Zorch for introducing me to Scruffy, and it just and through her I got to meet you, so it's a blessing. She's
a wonderful person to know, and anyway, but yeah, that's just a couple of months, and the rest of that guild is just amazing people as well. They're just fun, and they are laid back. You know, it's like when you go to a new job and you find out that this is like the perfect place.
Yeah,
you know, like you found that unicorn. Anyway. Storm season is officially underway here. We just had a storm roll through this evening, and it's my favorite time of year. I'm going to be stepping away from the computer, hopefully a little more often this year as I go in, because I chase tornadoes sometimes.
Oh! So, do you have a system for chasing it? Like, do you have one of those detectors, or you just go where they are?
I look at, what the forecast says. I'm not doing it for a scientific or a public safety purpose at this time. It's just, I'm one of those idiots that goes out there and gets in the way. I'll be honest about it. No, I just look at the forecast when I see that the chances are good on a specific day. And I also don't leave my home area. Like, I'm not going halfway across the country for this thing. It's just, if they come into the county, I'm out there.
So would you say that Twister is one of your favorite movies?
Yeah, it actually is. It was very well done for its day. And you just got to hand it to Philip Seymour Hoffman for that performance in that movie. He's just the most amazing character ever. In Dusty.
Yeah. I've done the Twister ride at Universal, and I scream like, because it's so real when you're there. But yes.
I thoroughly enjoyed that flick when it came out.
finding new secrets about. I feel like you just thought so many onions, or no, so many layers. I'm not calling it onion. I'm not
No, I am in fact so many onions. That's okay. That's accurate.
I love finding those like little things. Like I never knew that. That's cool. So I myself have been so many places. Well, really, I've died so many times in the Shadowlands. I have proved that the Shadowlands, there's death, because I've been in the alpha there, and so I tested the new character scenario, went to Darkmaw Citadel. Very nice for new players. I could teach them where to go. It shows players a lot of things that we take for granted in WoW. So I'm excited for that. And I found out if there are not enough people to queue up for it, they'll bring in NPCs with you, like the Legion and BFA scenario.
Oh, nice.
I've also been working on a warrior in Bastion that got him up to 52. Found out that Torghast opened up today, and I was going to go test that, except now that I got my Vampire Warlock to 120, I wanted to work on my Vanilla Dwarf Priest.
There you go.
I have not touched this priest since Vanilla, and now I got it up from 60 to 68 today.
Mm-hmm.
He still has his carrot on a stick.
Wow, that's a thing.
Yeah. So I can actually go fast on a mount. Like it's my fastest character now, and I got to hold on to this because I don't want to sell this.
That's amazing.
And gaming is incredible. I mean, it's so much fun gaming. So now that you've done AOTC in your immediate history, I want to go a little bit farther back and kind of go as far back, even the diapers. Whenever you got into gaming, how did you get into gaming?
I mean, I was your typical latchkey kid with an NES in the house growing up.
Yeah.
And so lots of Mario Brothers 3 and some Zelda in there as well. And what's amazing about a lot of the games that you play when you're a kid, you play and thoroughly enjoy these games, and you think you understand what's going on in the moment. And then you look back as an adult and you think about, what was going on when you were playing, and you realize how much deeper a storyline goes, or how little you understood about what this was or why you were doing it. It's kind of like revisiting cartoons in a weird way. It was pretty much your typical video game loving child, pretty much all the way up through high school. It was a fun thing. It was a pastime. It really wasn't something that I was overly consumed by until I got my hands on Ocarina of Time on the N64, which then proceeded to consume my soul. About that time, I started playing Diablo as well, and Diablo 2, and wow, how many hours did I lose to those games? My lord.
It's very fitting that you lost your soul to a game about souls.
Right, yes. Oddly enough, that's the only Legend of Zelda game that I have really poured that amount of time into. I still haven't played Breath of the Wild yet. I've been distracted by other things.
I've been hearing that your family has a Switch. Am I right?
Yeah, we sure do. We have a Switch in the house. Well, it's primarily Scruffy's Switch, and it's Animal Crossing dominated mostly.
I've never heard of this Animal Crossing. It's just like this new game.
You'll have to ask her and some other folks that are into it. I've just seen little bits and pieces of it. I know that the characters in it, when they talk to you, they go, and that's how they talk.
That would be an interesting podcast. Okay.
Translated into Southern speak for you.
Oh, bless their heart.
Bless their heart and God love them.
Yes. Now it's old Biggly Wiggly where they're playing Animal Crossing. So how did you get into World of Warcraft from Diablo?
Well, there was World of Warcraft, Diablo 2, and I knew that Blizzard was the name of the company that made it, and that's all I knew about it for a long time. When I met Ashley, she was well and truly consumed by World of Warcraft, and I would watch over her shoulder a little bit as she played, and I was immediately struck by the knowledge that if I were to start playing this game, that I would have no other life outside of the game ever again. And so for the next 7 or 8 years, I proceeded to outwardly make fun of her and act like I hated the game. And, it's when the whole time it was a guilty desire of mine to get into it. And finally, about the time Legion came out, I finally gave in, rolled up a night elf rogue, and I've been gallivanting around Azeroth ever since.
I can understand that because I got into WoW back in 2004, and then I left because it was consuming my life, and like those late night molten core, and then I kept not wanting to go back to WoW. You know, like I kind of like I'm never gonna go back. I'm never gonna go back. So I can get the not wanting to get into it because it is consuming, and then like you get into it, you start making podcasts about it. You start streaming it.
Yeah, but you know, if you can do it well, you know, there's a whole industry built up around that too. So.
Oh, absolutely, and I know so many people who have found their partners through WoW. I mean, it's a life-changing game.
Yeah, as long as you're having fun, you know, you gotta be passionate about things in life, you know.
And if you don't enjoy it, there are so many other good games out there to play.
That's a fact.
Like Temtem. I want to keep getting into Temtem, but I can't go into Temtem because there's just so much, not enough time in the day.
Yep, only so many hours.
Yeah. So when you're playing WoW, what is your play style? You mentioned raiding in AOTC, so I take it you do raiding?
You know, until I got into Exalted with Jeeves, I did not do a whole lot of raiding other than just LFR. I just really enjoy just going around and finding little bits of stories and things that are in the game. So there's the RP aspect of it is enjoyable to me. The questing, the achievement, just, you know, there's a little bit of everything. I really wouldn't say that I have a focus or a single thing that really motivates me to jump in every day. I just appreciate the fact that the world is so massive and that there's always going to be something to do. And I just enjoy all of it. You know, the universe that you can log into every day there is just so wonderful.
Yeah. And it's only going to keep getting more and more vast. I mean, the fact that we're now heading into the eternal resting places of so many people in our lore, it's mind-boggling.
Yeah. I have to be a little concerned about that, though, because once you reach death itself, what is there beyond that?
Yeah. But you weren't the first person to raise that concern. And I think a lot of us, like, as long as it does not mean the death of World of Warcraft, because...
Right. I think there's definitely a good many ways that you can continue to expand, though. So
yeah,
I continue to look forward to every time I can log in and play, and it's just a lot of fun.
Same, and the people that you meet, and like going to BlizzCon to meet people. I mean, and just like the memories and stuff. Mm-hmm. And in gaming, there are so many great memories. What is one of your favorite memories from gaming? It can be even beyond WoW. It can include D&D, because I know that you play D&D.
As far as favorite memories go, it would probably have to be from D&D, and it would probably have to be pretty recently. And it is, I feel kind of bad for saying this, for citing this as a favorite, because it was when I made a couple of my players cry. You know, not because of being a butthole or anything like that, but just because of the literal elements of the story had hit them in an emotional place. And so, which is kind of what you want as somebody who is writing and creating that experience for your gamers. You want to know that it's doing something for them, that they're getting immersed in it. And that was a good bit of feedback that I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. So yeah, it's pretty neat.
It's that you want someone to feel an emotion. I made a video for a group, and I got to actually be in the audience 3 times when it was played. And this video made people cry, a good cry. But and I was like, I achieved what I was going for in that video.
So yeah, it was really validating. It was good confirmation that I'm on the right track with, because this is the first campaign that I've DM'd, and I have the audacity to, even though we're doing a module, throwing in elements of the story that I've written myself to expand and go beyond it. So it's nice. So
wait, you're editing stuff in Audacity? I thought you used Audition.
No. I had the okay, I got you. Thank you, sir. Thank you. All right. I forgot you're one of these people. All right. Yeah. I forgot your family. Well, excellent.
Kind of a gig. I'm making you drink now.
No, but you are correct. Fun fact about me: I do use Audition.
So with that Audition, you do voiceover work.
I sure do.
How did you get into voiceover work?
The ultimate reason I got into voiceover is because Scruffy was doing it.
Oh, nice!
That's where that kind of got started. You know, I kind of knew that career field was out there, but I always thought it was the realm of pre-established, like, actors and that sort of thing. And it is in certain segments of the industry, but it's a lot wider of a field than you might consider at first. And so to find out that she did that, I was just immediately intrigued.
It's definitely a field that there's a lot of people who can get into it, and that it's, I don't want to say easy to get into, but
it's easy to try. It's a little harder to be successful at it and to, draw a steady income off of it. As I say, talent is passion with a lot of effort.
So what type of VO have you done?
For me, it's been primarily e-learning. If you ever have to take those computer, like the courses on the computer at work, and there's like the narrator and then the little characters that they put those little scenarios in and whatnot. I've done that. That's kind of actually the meat and potatoes of what I do. I have done a couple of audiobooks. I'm actually working on a third audiobook right now. And then I've got, kind of as a pastime project, I'm working with an individual named Hamster Scars, who has a very small YouTube channel that they are primarily a channel that creates like animatic series. They're all centered around hamsters.
Ooh.
So the particular series that I'm appearing in is called Nightmare City, and so that's up there. Other than that, yeah, like I said, it's primarily a lot of e-learning, just pretty much whatever I can get my hands on at the moment.
So I'm going to have to listen on my next course to see if maybe I'm being narrated by you.
Possibly. Depends on what the course is. The last thing I did was a Spanish language class, actually. So I had to speak a little English and a little Spanish.
Yeah, probably not that, because I no comprende Spanish.
I really don't either. I know how it works. I can actually read Spanish okay, but I have to hear it really slowly to be able to pick up on meaning in it. But I can do it well enough to voice act for it. That's what I did.
Is there one gig that you've done that really sticks out to you as your favorite gig?
The one that is my favorite in terms of things that tickle my brain, I did an audiobook that was the entire compendium of the existing knowledge of near-death experiences.
Oh!
So, you're talking about those out-of-body experiences when you're close to death and you walk toward the light or whatever. There's actually been some scientific research into it, and this was basically a summarization of all of that. And it was a lot of things that I had never heard of before, a lot of eyewitness accounts, a lot of experimentation, and I'm a sucker for that sort of thing, that sort of documentary type material. So
yeah,
that was a lot of fun to read. The very first voiceover gig I ever got paid for was actually many years ago, probably the weirdest one that I've done so far. And that was, I read the introduction to an audiobook on latex fetishism. So
wow.
There's all kinds of little niches out there that need a voice. And if you can provide it for them and do it well, you'll take care of yourself.
So that gig really helped you take the gloves off and
it sure did.
Get into voiceover.
It sure did. You really kind of got down to the skinny of it. And,
so what advice would you give someone wanting to get into VO work?
I hate to sound jaded, but, don't go into it with the expectation that you're going to make a living at it. If it is something that you want to do and that you're passionate about, by all means, go for it. It is easier than ever to set yourself up with a studio. It's not about just doing, funny voices and doing the zany stuff that everybody likes to laugh at. And you get the panels at Emerald City Comic Con where they read the scripts and stuff. Voice acting is, it says it on the tin, it's acting. So that has to be kind of where your passion is if you expect to really go far in it, as it were. And that's something that kind of took me a long time to realize. I love everything. Everything is amazing to me, but it's just one of those things that I thought would be interesting to do and never found a way to really manifest it. There's always something else going on. So that was a nice way for me to reconnect with that sort of desire.
One question that I have, I feel like whenever I'm recording a podcast, I have to redo the same line like a couple times to get that feel. How often do you feel you have to record a line till it feels good?
All the time. There's something to be said for, getting to the point where, you feel like you can just nail that first take. But especially if you're cold reading, you're reading along and you're trying to stay ahead of the text and get an idea for where the scene or the, what have you is going. But you always find yourself going back to either do a B take or do you think you can do it better. And that's one of the fun things about being able to do it, in your home studio without people listening to you live is that you can pick and choose the good stuff and send it out to them. So it's kind of cheating in a way, but yeah, that happens all the time.
And that way you don't have somebody being like, oh, I want that different, or like you feel like you're wasting their paid time recording you.
In a way, but those directed sessions though are that's kind of expected too. I mean, you are expected to go in there and know what you're doing, but they can certainly, there's a little bit of that built in.
So there's a mixture of the home session and then sessions where you go somewhere.
Yeah, there's a lot less of that with COVID right now, but
yeah.
And what we do here is mostly from home anyway. Well, it's strictly from home anyway in our home studios. But yeah, the live in studio session, that's the big time, right? That's when you're hitting some level of celebrity. So and that you're doing well. We're still working on it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I love what I hear. So I mean, the bumpers I played here, but also if you listen to the optional, there are some amazing bumpers you have on there.
We're just having fun. I mean, that's the thing is you jump in there and you play. That's what you do. So
yeah.
Just like playing a video game in a way.
Well, another fun place that I've seen where you play, but have fun, but you have some serious pipes you are quite the talented musician, in this Gnome's opinion. And from being in the monthly Twitch sings, I've heard you've been part of a band.
Yep.
How did you get into music?
Well, music was my first love. I've been making some sort of music since I could walk, basically. I started playing the piano at age 5. I was classically trained at one point, but I've fallen so far out of practice with it. I have lost all my chops on the keyboard these days, but that's what I grew up doing. In high school, I got into a crappy garage rock band like you do.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just something that I've always been drawn to. It was in high school, I guess, that I kind of learned, as introverted as I am, I really enjoy the performance aspect of getting up and being able to entertain a crowd in that way. It's probably part of what I enjoyed about voice acting too, actually, now that I think about it, is being able to entertain and to tell a story and dungeon mastering for that matter.
Yeah.
It's just kind of a lifelong partnership, me and music. I cheat on it a lot, but it doesn't mind.
It's always there in your soul. And
it always is.
Right. And like one day you're just along and like, give me that beat, boy, and free my soul. I want to get lost in that rock and roll.
And drift away. Won't you take me away?
Yes.
There you go. See if I can find that in the next Twitch sings and we'll rock that out.
Oh, I love it. So what was this band and how did you get started with them?
The one that I spent a lot of time, or the most time in, I suppose, as an adult was called No Alibi, which kind of got together right after I had met Scruffy, actually. She was actually approached by a couple of guys to sing for them. And I think she initially approached me about playing the drums, as I recall. I was a percussionist in high school, and I could play the drums pretty well, too. And then they found out I could play the guitar. That's what I ended up doing instead. We went out, and another friend of Scruffy's came on board as a drummer, and for about 3 years, we tore up the town. Just had a lot of fun playing music and won a battle of the bands.
Ooh!
Against some very polished and very talented acts, I might add. We showed up looking like this scraggly, right out of the basement rock band, and to be able to perform against some of the more established acts in town was pretty cool. But we were just about having fun, making good music.
What genres are your favorite, and what genres were the band?
We brought a lot of stuff to the table, and our bass player is specifically a Chili Peppers fan, but I mean, all things that are sort of like funk and, things that he can go nuts on. He's also got a good taste for prog rock. He is a musician's musician, too. Got more talent in him in his pinky than I do in all of my body. Scruffy and I are... we're both into like various forms of rock music, pop punk and alternative, that sort of thing. And that's kind of what we ended up playing a lot of. It kind of came out sounding like anything from Paramore to Hoobastank to, gosh, I don't know what you'd call it, but it was just really, it's kind of alty, kind of garagey. For a while, we had a guitarist who was a metalhead, so there was some influence in that regard as well. It was a lot of fun.
What would you say has been one of the craziest memories you've had while being with them?
I'll tell you what was the craziest memory jamming with No Alibi. It's not something crazy that we did. It was crazy circumstances. We were well into a period where we were playing a lot of, like pop punk and, sort of more mainstream, sort of friendly covers, along with our original music. We played a show in a larger city a couple of hours away, and we were sandwiched in between two very heavy metal bands. You want to talk about like grindcore and like death metal, that sort of thing. It was like a grindcore act and then us and then a death metal band. We were like the creamy middle inside of this jam sandwich. The crowd that we were playing to, fully expected to be, thrown right the hell out of this place. But everybody was so supportive and so into, our sound as well as what they had come to hear. It was just the weirdest thing. It was surreal and it was amazing. I was in the middle of that set, with this prejudice, really, this expectation that nobody's going to enjoy this. Everybody hates it. No, everybody loves it. And I'm just up there like, where am I? What am I doing? That was probably, for me, it was probably the craziest moment that I had experienced with No Alibi.
And what advice would you give someone wanting to get into music?
I think the best advice I would give to anybody who wants to do anything in life is, what is it that you want to get out of it? Are you doing it because you're enjoying it? Are you doing it because you want to get famous? Whatever reason you're thinking about it, I guess that's a valid reason, whatever that might be. But just think about what it's going to cost you to get there, and is the work worth what you want to do? Because anything you want to do that is a craft or an art takes a lot of practice. So be ready for it. Make sure it's what you really want to do. If it turns out that it's not, there's no shame in that either. You tried.
Yeah.
You had a look, and now you know. Don't ever take any moment in trying to learn something or do something as a waste of time, because it doesn't have to be. It can be a learning experience.
And would you say certain things can move into another offshoot career?
Yeah. You can discover all kinds of different things. I just, playing guitar, like a moron in high school and in college, discovered audio production in that way. And that's still what I do for a day job today. And I enjoy it. I like working with sound and seeing what kind of neat things I can make out of a recorded track or a weird noise or something that I record. It's a lot of fun. You never know what you might pass up if you don't try something.
Yeah. That sounds like a positive pot shot from Scruffy.
It might be. It's definitely good stuff.
And speaking of Scruffy, on this show, I've got to meet many different types of people in different relationships, and I don't think it would be a good idea to end the show without asking about the mushy stuff.
Sure.
How did Scruffy and you meet?
We met through music, actually, in a way. She was among a group of mutual friends at a karaoke bar.
Ooh.
And I was invited to go. I almost didn't go, but I decided to go ahead and go hang out. And she sang just angelically. So we hit it off, played some music. I took her home. She invited me into her apartment, and I washed the dishes in her sink. So that's the way that went.
You are a great person. Wow.
Seemed like the thing to do at the time, I suppose.
Yes. What would you say is your favorite thing about Scruffy?
Actually, kind of tying back to what we were just talking about with positive potshots. If positive juju was a god, she would definitely be a priestess of that god.
Oh, yes.
She's always doing everything she can to try to make the vibes in the world around a little more positive than they are. It's just a wonderful force in the world. I think it helps. I think she's doing something out there to, improve the world as it is.
Yes. She's one of those lights that we need in this world.
Yeah. And the fact that she's so willing to shine for everybody.
Yeah.
That's crucial.
She defends people that others may look away from.
Yeah. Absolutely. She's a hero.
Yes. And what would you say is one of your favorite memories since being with them?
Wow. Lots and lots of them. There's everything just from the first night to, meeting her to honeymooning in Sedona. Usually we find ourselves in situations that we don't necessarily plan to be in. We get these miniature adventures, and it might be something as simple as, the car breaks down and we've got to derail everything that was our plans to go and deal with this. And then we might end up, taking a whole day and spending it together. Took her out on the storm chase, and we ended up in a fast food restaurant while the rain came down, and, enjoying a lunch date that way. So, just whatever's spontaneous. Those tend to get to the top of my list. We did this 2-year exodus, I guess you'd say, to the state of New York. We lived in the Buffalo area for a couple of years. I thoroughly enjoyed every time we got to go out, and there's a national park there. I just enjoyed being around her when she sort of, she felt really at home there, it seemed like to me. And she really enjoyed those surroundings. So lots of good times there.
I love that those moments that might seem like they go against the plan you had, but you find joy in those.
Mm-hmm. I think that's probably one of the, not the keys, but it's a way to a life well lived, I guess. It's finding a way to make something positive out of the unexpected. Bad things don't have to be bad. There's exceptions to that rule, obviously, but sometimes when you can turn something to a positive, it's always worth taking that opportunity. And can't think of anyone else I'd want to do it with. Oh, and also, I can't not mention getting to, set foot in California for the first time with her last year at BlizzCon, and getting to meet everybody that she hangs out with, and just so many wonderful people that you meet through her.
Yeah. That was my first time at BlizzCon last year too, and it was cool. And wasn't it just a rush?
Yes, yeah, it was an absolute whirlwind, and I'm not sure that I can remember any particular memories from there. It's all just it's like watching a slideshow, and all of the slides are superimposed on each other.
Yeah,
it's kind of a blur, but I know I was there. I know I met you and lots of other wonderful people, and I know I had a lot of fun. Looking forward to doing it again sometime.
Me too. I'm still holding out hope for this year, but if not, next year then.
Yeah, I don't know if it'll be financially in the cards for us this year, but we're definitely, we're looking ahead.
Yeah. And just like that blur, today has gone by in a blur, but it always does.
It always does.
Yeah.
Anything fun, seems like, but that's all right.
Yeah.
That's the encouragement to cherish the moment.
And the fun is people can listen to this for centuries. I just heard about somebody listening to an episode of a guest I had on, mm-hmm. and the episode's been out for months, and they were able to listen to it too. So it's that fun living on, that legacy.
That's right. Now, do you intend to do this show for centuries?
I am. I don't know if I'll be playing WoW. I hope to, but in whatever medium this goes, I'm having too much fun now that I don't want to stop.
Right. That's super cool. I wish you the best of luck, and I'm certainly going to continue watching and listening.
Oh, thank you. And sing with me, at least whenever we have the Twitch sings, because that has been a blast.
Yes, yes, absolutely. Every time we get together to do one of those, I'll certainly be there if I can. So sometimes work drives a little late in the evening for me, but I always find a way to make it if I can.
Well, I want to thank you for joining me on FrazlCast tonight, and
an absolute privilege. Thank you.
Oh, it's been a privilege having you here. Just sitting down with you and talking with you, and as Scruffy said on the last Fluid Optional, kind of a male bonding session and stuff like that.
Absolutely.
So, where can people find you on the interwebs?
Probably the most visible place right now would be Twitter. It's twitter.com/Mr. Is it underscore Scruffy? I think it's Mr. underscore Scruffy. Let me just check on that real quick. Because I don't remember. It's like remembering your own phone. Remember when you? I guess everybody has to remember their own phone number now, but
yes,
unless you don't. But remember when you had to remember other people's numbers?
Yeah, and I remember I had a mentor, Jeff Fulver, who said one day we would all just look at names on our phones, and we were thinking right, that'll never happen. Now we do.
Now we do, and soon you won't even have to look for them. You'll just think them. And there it'll be. We'll be cyborgs.
I mean, already
integrated.
Our butts seem to do that because, if you don't lock your phone,
that's right.
I'm sorry, Mom. I didn't mean to call you.
It's not the first time I've been called a butt brain. All right. But yes, it's Mr. The word Mr., not the abbreviation, Mr._Scruffy on Twitter. You can find a link to my Bandcamp site there. I think I've got it up in a little information underneath that. It's Jeffrey Lynn with a G.bandcamp.com, and that's where my music is if you find yourself possessed to listen to that stuff. Everything on there's more serious, and then, of course, you can catch all of the latest, the more fun shenanigans that I get up to on Loot Optional as I continue to produce audio material for that. And as a matter of fact, I'm overdue for creating another round of it, so hopefully very soon, in the next few weeks, you'll be hearing those. And
I still got it has the tail wags I got to do for that one, because I love the first one, and that was so much fun. Oh, I'm broken now! Yeah, so... So we had a request by Cap for you to sing something in a cappella to play us out.
It'll be a shameless plug for Frazley, and I'll just do an encore here.
Oh,
and, just the chorus is all I could remember, and it's toss a sub to your Twitcher and help them make money. Cheer bits by the 20. Oh. Toss a sub to your Twitcher. With Prime, do it monthly.
Oh, thank you so much. I love that.
You're quite welcome.
Both because I love that it's ask people to sub to me, but also I love your voice.
Oh, well, thank you. I appreciate that. It's the only one I've got. Or is it?
Oh, find out on the next Loot Optional.
Same bat time, same bat channel.
Activating customized Orphan transporter.
Well, I am back, Mom of Ironforge, until we one day reclaim Gnomergon.
Yeah, I'm a gnome.
Let's look at what has been happening in the community.
Awesome. Let's do that. Sign-ups for the 2020 Arena World Championship are still open. Registration closes on May 11th, and Blizzard has announced the changes to the Arena World Championship. This year, due to ping issues, which they usually resolve by bringing everyone together in one place, it will be split up into regional championships this year for North America and EU. And they are splitting the competition into 3 stages, and also, unfortunately, they are splitting up the prize pool as well. More details are at the link in the show notes at gnomepodcast.com. My friend Tess has been doing a lot of work for WoW's esports coverage, and she tweeted that her first blog, the Viewer's Guide for the Mythic Dungeon International, are now up. You can find it at worldofwarcraft.com, and I have a link in the show notes. And my friend Dust Mephisto is still running events raising money for the Autistic Self-Advocacy Network. They have just surpassed 2,500 of the $5,000 goal, and there are still events planned for later this month, like Thursday, April 23rd to Friday, April 24th. They are going to do the longest time playing WoW in one sitting. So I've got a link in the show notes to Dust Mephisto on Twitter and to where you can donate to help support ASAN. And how did I miss this? Icy Veins report that Dust Mephisto cleared Nyloth on normal with just warriors. And elsewhere in Nyalotha, Friends of Dragon is in full force to help people get the uncrypted Voidwing mount from getting AOTC. Follow them on Twitter at Friendship Mount. And in the show notes, I've got a link to Perky Pug's FAQ page and a form to fill out to be a carrier for the Perky Pugs team. Perky Pugs is one of the teams, and they are raising money for St. Jude Children's Hospital, and they have raised over $1,000 for their $10,000 goal. The group, Will Wipe for Achievements, is running May 3rd, and the proceeds go to Feeding America. Ready Set Dragon gave away their 200th mount on Friday, April 17th. Wow, there's so much great stuff happening in this community to raise money for good causes. Over in things I saw in the community, Wowhead has revamped their Today in WoW section, and it looks very nice. This has been in place for a few weeks, but I forgot to mention it. It goes all the way back to Warlords, and you can filter what you want to see for which expansion and which faction. Icy Veins points to a Diablo 1 trailer remake by Ben Monor, and Icy Veins says it took 40 days for Ben to make it by himself. Wowhead reports that in Classic, Blade of Kill cleared Zograb, which just recently opened, and they defeated Hakar with all 5 priests still alive. Wowhead reports that this is indeed a world first, not just a world first for Classic. And speaking of Warlords, sometimes it feels like it takes a fortnight to defeat the Warlords opening scenario. And I bet it took Redditor QJag a fortnight to make the Dark Portal in Fortnite. Pete showed me this in the Sparksman Discord, and I think it looks very nice. And speaking of Fortnite, it's a sport. And back in WoW, Halfhill has the Mighty Mooshans. But what if you could watch the Azeroth Football League on ESPN as of right now, many physical Earth sports are canceled for the time being? Well, Icy Veins found that the Moldy Baguette has created logos for different teams in the AFL. Unfortunately, some of these logos have been deleted for some weird reason, but I had to bring it up. There are 2 still available in the article, and I brought it up not only because I wanted a reason to say the Mighty Mooshans, but I love the idea of Azeroth having their own football team. And I don't mean soccer. This is American football. But now, to punt it on to our next and final story. Kelly has been on a roll with these developer interviews. He talked with Paul Cubitt about Torghast. I'm excited from reading this to get into this new dungeon. And everything I'm hearing, it sounds really good right now. I'm hoping that this does not end up like Islands or Warfronts. Not that they are bad, but they aren't exactly what I think some of us were expecting. At least not what I was expecting. Oh, and community. I want this to be a thing. In Torghast, many of us are starting to call the Terra Guru Mr. T. And Mr. T pities the fool that gets caught by him.
This has been another awesome episode of FrazlCast. Take it away, Frazzlepants.
Thank you, Scruffy. So I am pleased to announce that I am on another podcast. Well, not as a co-host, but I am now doing a segment on This Week in Trek called Morning Trek, where I recall my thoughts on different episodes that I've been watching in my morning trek on Twitch. Thank you to Kara and Starman for letting me be part of this great podcast. A shout out to Rockdog, who popped into Twitch and said, "Hello, Frazley, love the podcast." And you were correct. RockDWG equals Rockdog. Yeah! Thank you, Rockdog. And I'm glad that I pronounced your name correctly. Chris Carter on Twitter said they started listening to this podcast about 2 weeks ago at work, and they love it, and they really enjoy the episodes with Thunk. Oh, I agree. Thunk is amazing. And thank you, Chris, for listening. Hopefully we don't make you burst out laughing at work too much. And thank you to Sir Onionite, who has made so many of my Twitch emotes. He has made 2 animated 3D scenes for Twitch, both containing the cogs in the server that are my sub badges and the starting soon screen that I use. These 3D scenes also contain a chocolate treat poster that just made Chocolate perk his head up. Thank you, Sir Onionite. Okay, Chocolate, here's a treat. He's excited. Okay, back to the show. Sir Onionite, you have been an amazing support of me, and I love whenever I get to use your art or see the emotes you made get used in Twitch and Discord. For your future projects, please consider Sir Onionite for your next Twitch emotes or overlays. This dude is amazing, and I just love how their art style gels with my style. And speaking of Twitch, every episode, in addition to thanking those who have given back to me with words of encouragement that are there on days when I'm feeling really and sluggish, I also like to thank those who have given back to this show financially. Thank you to my Twitch subs out there. Thank you to Burkhart, Cap, Constrax of Control at WoW, Crunk, Cuffy of Charactercraft, Sai of Scrubs vs. the World, Dazzledorn, Harlow, Kayla, KR Soli, Lucas of Cardiac Valley Podcast, Michael of Two Nerds Maybe More and Genome Project, Morelia, Knight, Heat of Stories About Azeroth, Razarus, Rig of Character... Sorry, Chocolate is licking my hand right now. Rig of Charactercraft Podcast, Rockdog, Scissorlord, Sir Onionite, Spaz Wesson, Ta Lewin, Telleroid, Tom of 3 Extra Lives, Felicia, Winchester, and Zortz the Goblin. And here's where I would typically do the call for supporting this show financially, but you heard toss this up to your Twitcher twice early in this episode. So if you want to toss this up to me, head on over to support.gnomepodcast.com. All of your support goes to helping support this labor of love. Thank you so much. Well, I am Frazley, and you can find the show at gnomepodcast.com. There you can catch past episodes and find out many of the places where you can subscribe to this show and get the Gnome Train coming to you every single week. Well, until next week, be awesome. Welcome to the Frazz Report, a short podcast by me, the Awesome Gnome, about the world of Warcraft. So you won't believe the incredible news I have for today. I have an exclusive interview with... Did someone call the studio line? I've forwarded them to my home as we aren't currently recording in the studio due to a sheltered hearth order by Anduin Wren. Let's see who it is. Hello? This is the Frazz Report. You are on with Frazley.
Hello, is this Blizzard Entertainment Support?
No, this is Frazley of the aptly named Frazz Report. You've called my studio line.
I don't care who you are, I just want to play me Diablo 3, I tell you.
I'm sorry, I can't help you.
Gosh darn it, you phone support people are all the same, I tells you. You don't answer my questions. Wait until I go on the Facebooks to talk all about you and how you're so incompetent.
Listen, sir, maybe I can help you. What is your problem?
When I logs into Diablo 3, it doesn't accept my gosh dang it password, young man. It works when I logs into the Overwatch to play as Mercy, and she heals good, I tell you.
So Diablo 3 is the only game that isn't working for you?
That's right, youngin'. That Hellscape game doesn't let me log in, I tells you.
Oh, okay. I remember an article on Icy Veins about this. Did you happen to make your password long? Blizzard recently changed their password requirements on April 15th.
I read an article about Blizzard enabling these new fancy long passwords for security, and I was like, I will make my password the preamble to the Constitution without spaces, so each time I log in, I know me right as American.
Okay. Glancing at the preamble. Glancing at the preamble, it is longer than 16 characters.
I only have one character in Diablo 3, I tells you.
Okay, sir, this article at Icy Veins is saying that with Diablo 3, you can't log in-game using that password, but they are working on a fix. Right now, you can still log in using the Battle.net app.
That thing that sends my data to Activision Blizzard without my consent?
Well, yes. It sends your login information in a secure format to Activision Blizzard, who owns Battle.net and Overwatch and Diablo, and then downloads updates for games.
I don't like that! My privacy is my right as American! I only use that app when I need stuff. You support peoples are all the same, never have been the common man. The Facebook tells me you're all part of the...
Oh, that's weird. Somehow we got disconnected. I don't know how that happened. And sadly, that's all the time I have for this report. It was going to be a great interview, but I guess we ended up interviewing whoever that was. I better make sure to block their number. Until next time, be awesome.
FrazlCast is a fan podcast that covers Blizzard games. We are not affiliated with Blizzard Entertainment, Inc. Views expressed by the hosts and guests are their own. Some of the art, music, and sound effects come from Blizzard Games, and they are owned by Blizzard Entertainment, Inc. No copyright infringement is intended. This show is for the community, and it contains contributions from the community. The Gnome Train Intro is by Allie of Dungeon Fables and All Things Azeroth. The opening music is by Brandon T. Blaylock. The Gnome Roar is by Jen of Morally Grey Podcast. And the Frazzlepants bumper at the end is by the Scruffy Druid of Loot Optional and Viral Voice Arts.
This show is brought to you by Dragon Powered Studio.
Podcasts to make your week better. Remember to smile and be awesome.
Find more at dragonpoweredstudio.com.
I don't drink nearly as much water as I should. This is actually full of water. I'm trying to fix it. You know, I was at the store a couple of weeks ago and people were giving me sideways looks, wondering why I'm hoarding the diet soda. I was like, I'm not hoarding the diet. This is my week's supply.
Yes.
As I carried out my 1812 packs, you know, it's... Some of us have high tolerances, all right?
It's been fun. Farewell!